All right, team. We are back. It is race week. Eugene Marathon coming up on Sunday. Definitely excited. Definitely a little bit nervous. Going through a lot of different strategies in my head. I've talked to a lot of different. Again, I've been going off of some of my trusted resources. Fumble. The trusted resources, my friends who have raced with in the past, my friends who are kind of coaches. TJ Anto, who's an Ironman. My coach at Solace, Glenn, some of my training partners, people I've trained with in other blocks, and we're talking about where I'm going to be and how the race strategy is going to fit into my expectations and what my goal is, which is to break 3. But a lot of people think that coming from 3 hours and 17 minutes in my debut marathon in Miami and going to sub 3 hours is quite a bit of a jump. I have been training towards it, but you got to respect the distance. It's 26.2 miles, and those miles 18 to 26 is a whole bunch of feelings that I can only explain merely because you kind of have to live it, and I suggest you do. But done some research on Eugene. It's rolling hills, a little bit of elevation. Not nearly the crowds that I'm used to from Boston in my last race. It's one of those things that is going to need some company. And I think that I have a couple of guys that I've kind of curated some sort of plan with. Obviously the travel coming from the East Coast over to the West Coast is going to be a bit of an adjustment, whereas the other 2 races I've done are, quote unquote local. But tapering down, the mileage is low. I have a lot of energy. I feel ready. Going over certain things coming to race day. And I was thinking about this stuff, because it's been 4 months of me making these videos. It's been a running journal. It's been a diary. It's been some of my favorite scenic runs. It's been, my zone 2 runs, my key workouts, my tempo, my long run, my track Tuesdays, right? And they've been so important. And I'm glad that I've been able to log them. But now it's kind of the point where, I haven't raced since, or really raced since the Miami half, which was back in the end of January. It's basically 3 full months. So I'm itching to get out there. I do think that there's a level of competitive nature that comes out, that I'll be able to see some sort of a boost from the adrenaline. The course, rolling hills, nothing crazy. It's not the Brickenbacher Bridge. I've been training hills here, or hill. There's not fans like there is in Boston the whole way through every single minute. So there's going to be times where it does feel a little lonely between miles, 11 to 18. I think the finish on the track is going to be legendary. It's going to feel amazing on my feet. It'll be a great, 400 meter kick. Things I'm thinking about personally are coffee pre-race. I'm not gonna have my Nespresso machine that I'm so used to. Pre-race poop. I'll be in an Airbnb with several people. Pre-race meal. Usually I'm a PBJ, protein bar, Martin bar guy. The packing and the weather. I was just on the phone with my friend who I'm running with. And he is picking me up a throwaway sweater so I can bring it to warm up in and run the first couple miles and then shed it and not worry about it. I'm training in 70-degree weather to 80-degree weather every single day here. So my blood is extremely thin, and I'm going to a climate that I think race start could be 42 and rainy or 52 and rainy. So that's a delta of 30 to 45 degrees. So that's going to be interesting. And as far as warming up, there's a good bit of nerves. I try not to take this as seriously as I do, and I enjoy it. It's fun. It's a hobby. But when you take away baseball from someone who's been doing it their whole life and you substitute with something like this, you kind of have you can't help but have the same mentality applied towards it. Trying to think of some other things. I had things written down to mention, kind of what's going through my head, but I think ultimately the race strategy for me is going to be start around 7:20 for 2 miles, and then go the first 5 miles basically start with the 3 hours and 10-minute pace group. And then after that, for that 5 miles, chunk down to around 7-minute pace flats to catch up to the 3:05 group. And that could take maybe from mile 5 to mile 13. And once we catch up with them, we hang with them until about mile 20. And that 20-mile mark, that's when I'm gonna really kick and go sub 7-minute pace, and try and really just make up as much time as I can and go from, if my projected time at that point would be 3:05 at mile 20, I want to cut it down to as close to 3 as possible. I think that I'm having a little bit of tumultuous thoughts based on, do I want to give myself an opportunity to break 3, or do I want to finish strong at 3:02, 3:03, 3:05, 3:08 and say, I have Chicago, which I did announce prior, but I am running Chicago. I did get a charity bib. That's in October, and if I come into this race, finish confidently, 3:0x, and then I go into Chicago thinking, okay, I just went from 3:17 to 3:0x, now I need to get from 3:0x to 2:59 or 2:58 or train to 2:56, so I have that 4-minute buffer. Whereas like this race, I trained for 3. If I go 3:04, then I train for 2:56, I hit 2:59, that ideology. I was watching Casey Neistat's video yesterday. That's the first time I've ever seen it. His Impossible Dream video, which I highly suggest watching. It's about the impossible dream, which for his was to break 3 hours. And I think he broke it when he was 40-something years old, and it was his 24th or 25th attempt. So hoping it doesn't take me that long. The speed stash, as you can see, it's a little thick up here compared to the rest of my beard. This is gonna go. As far as gear I'm going to wear, I got the Nike Trails tights, which have phenomenal pockets. They're good, breathable. I love them. I have the Salas singlet, my team. I have the Bandit hat, Bandit socks, Vaporfly 3s, and a throwaway sweater. I'm not going to do arm sleeves. I think it's just a little too much. It's one of those things where it's race day and anything can happen, and you got to respect the distance. And if you haven't done it before, I think that using channels with people who have done it a few times, and you work towards somebody who you idolize or someone that you see and you think that you can do it, it kind of unlocks your brain to be able to do something when somebody else tells you can do it sometimes rather than yourself. But if you follow some of the guys and you stack your workouts, you always try and train with somebody faster than you. I always like that ideology because you want to chase somebody. And you don't want to be the fastest person in the room. Like you don't want to be the smartest person in the room, right? I want to give myself a shot though. That's for sure. I want to be able to look at my watch with 4 miles left and say, let's see if I can do this. And if it's something astronomical, maybe it is. But I've ran an 18 flat 5K before, or 1750 5K. So look, I don't think my PR in a 5K is going to be 23 to 26.2, but at least there's something to hunt down. And it's not a major, but it would be fun to BQ. It is a Boston qualifier. I think I'm most interested in seeing how my body reacts to the weather, because I've done a couple long runs up north through this block when it was 50, and I felt extremely fit, and my breathing and my heart rate was super low, and I was my acclimation was good, but it wears on your legs a little bit more. I feel it in my thighs and my hamstrings, my quads. So that'll be an interesting thing to study. It definitely helps knowing that I have Chicago in October as kind of a buffer, but I do know that life will get in the way a little bit more through the summertime, again, with vacation, wedding, bachelor party, travel, work. But that's kind of where my thought process is. I think I'm gonna do 5 goos and 1 Martin CAF 100, so to get a caffeination boost on the way up. like mile 20, like my last gel will be Martin, so maybe 21, 22, and I pop that and then finish the rest. It'll kind of give me a little, caffeine. Yeah, I mean, it's a full-on away game. Like, this is a full day of travel on Friday, Saturday shakeout bib pickup, and then right into race day on Sunday. So I will post my bib number. I'll post anything if you guys want to track me. I did want to say I did put a code, a Bandit membership referral code that I was given for 20% off for anybody who wants that. I think it's an easy deal. I mean, it's $125. You get a $50 gift card. So take $50 off of that. You get 2 pairs of member socks, which is a $40 value at least. So that's $90. So you're really only paying $35. You get free shipping, and you get like 10 or 20% off some other things. You get 20% off Asics shoes at Marathon Sports. So I was gonna buy the Nova Super Blast at some point. They're sold out right now. In other news, I just bought a pair of Adidas Boston 12s for tempo. My OnCloud Eclipse just hit they just eclipsed 400 miles. So those are done. And that's kind of everything for now. I did want to do kind of more of an all-encompassing breakdown of what I've been working with lately. My body feels good. The blister's fully healed. I have energy. We just did a tempo today, 4 miles or 4 times 1600 with 400 meter recoveries. So 4 times a mile on the track at marathon pace. I think I was like, my first one was 6:35, a little fast. Second one was 6:56, 7:04. Then I did 6:56, and then I did like 7:03 or something. So I was trying to stay a little conservative. I felt very strong. My heart rate average was 150s. It was a super nice morning here. A lot of energy from everybody on the team, and you feed off of that. We just keep eating well. We keep napping and getting our Z's in there. And I'm hoping for at least a 13-minute PR. I think 13-minute PR would be 3:04. So if I can do that, I'll be very, very content, knowing that I have the sub 3 in me, and I'm very confident of that. If I put in another block, like it's cumulative, so it's a building thing. These things take years to do. So I started running in 2020, I started training in 2022, and now we're in 2024. So it's a longevity play, and you get more experience with every race. But like I said, follow me. I'll post the bib stuff. If you guys have any questions or anything I can answer, I'll do another breakdown post race. I'll do some more edits and stuff for some of the things I've been working on. But that's it for now. We'll get after it.